It is a Sunday evening, at least when I'm streaming this live. You may be watching this afterwards. And it is already the end of the weekend. And I know most of us are deeply disappointed that weekends seem to go by 2 or 3 times as fast as regular days or regular days of the week. For my part, I'm glad that this weekend is over because it's been a weekend with quite a few challenges. I explained the health issues that I'm struggling with right now. So any day that brings me further into the future is welcome to me. Hello, Mashek. Hello, Never Grow Up Studios. And Sage is there, and Matthew, and Flying Car 100. Welcome. So yesterday I streamed a little bit, and I was working on this mini set. It's not a very elaborate set. It was from the time that Lego licensed the Lord of the Rings movies. So it's actually already quite an old set. Of course, the more recent Middle Earth related stuff is from the Hobbit movies, but it's also already a couple of years ago. Still hoping that they will return to the license of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, because there's just so much opportunity there. Hello, Charles and Professor Slughorn and Toxic Firepower. And that's Bob and Brogan, who says it's my friend Cooper's birthday today, and he's a huge fan. Of course, I can wish him a happy birthday. Happy birthday! And live long and prosper. And may the force be with you. And what else can I wish you that is geeky? No, but really, I hope you have a great day. And it's certainly cool to be able to celebrate your birthday on a Sunday, because then you have more time available for a birthday. So that's very cool. Hey, Jennifer. And Samuel is there, Charles is there, Lawrence is there, good evening, Fives is there, Cooper, where are you all coming from? Time bendies. Alright, so as I was explaining yesterday, I started building this small set, and it looks really cool on the manual, but if you look closely, a lot of the coolness is because of this painted background. The actual set turned out to be kind of disappointing. This is what it was supposed to look like after I built it. So there is a mechanism here. There are actually 2 mechanisms here, play mechanisms. There is a rod here that you can push, and that will kick Saruman out of his throne. Probably, because Gandalf used some magic on him. But kind of pointless, because Saruman in the fight kind of has the upper hand. So I'm not sure why. They probably just wanted to do something interactive with the set. And then there's a wheel that you can turn, and that will connect to this Palantir, which is this transparent bowl. And on the inside you see the eye of Sauron. And that can turn around. The thing is, it's a circular thing. So even if you turn it around, it doesn't really add much to it. It's I don't know, not really essential. Plus, I didn't really like the design of this, and I discovered that I was missing a lot of the pieces. This is a secondhand set that I bought, and while I was building what I had, I just got stuck because I didn't have, for instance, these technical elements in order to make the Palantir turn. Didn't have that. But that's actually not a problem, because I had a different idea. I just, after building this Lego set, I wanted to modify it and create something that came to me while I was visiting IKEA. I'm always looking for stuff to decorate my house with, and at IKEA you can buy these glass, glass bowls. It's actually you can put a statue under it, or even a plant. It's meant to protect it from dust. And I figured, well, what if I build a Lego structure on the inside of that? How cool would that be? It would be like a little mini universe in a certain way. You can pretend that it's a miniature world that is protected by, I don't know, a force field or something like that. So one of the ideas that I had is to take this very simple plain set and build it up. So just has the throne, but of course this takes place in the center of the Tower of Orthanc, which is a gigantic tower. And you may remember it from after the fight when Gandalf is banned by Saruman to the top of that tower, and he gets stuck there, and of course he's unable to help the rest of the Fellowship. And he sends a little butterfly, or a moth actually, to go call the eagles. And so the eagles, in the end, save him from the Tower of Orthanc. So I was thinking, well, what if I build up this set a little bit and create something that evokes more of that tower? And that's what I've been doing. And it was a very interesting project. So let me just show you the entire thing here. There you see the throne with Saruman on it, and the eye of Sauron. You can actually still turn this. So the turning mechanism didn't remove it, but you have to do it manually. So the eye can just turn around. You've got a very concerned Gandalf, of course, who is shocked that Saruman is using this Palantir for his own personal information. And it's got these nice candles that were part of the original set, and the throne is also identical to what the set made me build. But then I added this entire base to it. So I wanted to create something that looks a bit more rocky, more organic. And so if I turn that around, you can see there are just some slight angles. I don't have that much black material, so I had to be creative. Plus, I wanted this to fit onto the base of this glass bulb. And then what I did is I build it up and 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 up. And then on top, you see that? I try to evoke the top of the Tower of Orthanc as we see it in the movies. This took quite a bit of time to figure that out, how I do that. Because again, you don't want it to be life size, of course, because then it wouldn't fit. This is still more of a reminiscence, or how do you say that, like something that evokes the tower rather than represent it. But still, it forms a really nice ensemble, I think, with the throne, and it's very much in style with the rest of the set. And if I bring it a little bit closer to the camera, I'm not sure if this will be able to focus on it. Probably just barely focuses. So you can just turn it around and see the various moments of the conflict. And of course, there's very little room here for a fight, and playing around. But this was meant to be a display set. But if I wanted, I could take Saruman out of his throne and position him, for instance, here next to the Palantir, if I want to, and they can just...
You can just try to convince Gandalf that there is absolutely nothing wrong with using the Palantir for information. And Sauron is actually quite a nice guy, you know.
Oh, how can you dare? Well, anyway, so it is possible to play around a little bit. There are studs on the base. And what took me the most of the time was actually to get this thing to go up. So to create a build that would, without it being too massive, because you still want to be able to look at this from various angles. So I couldn't close it, of course, as a tower, but that would still kind of make it rise up. And I was very fortunate to find a couple of these. These are pretty old kind of pillars, Lego pillars. I had 3 of them. And at first I was trying to do a symmetrical setup, but then I figured, you're always going to have this big pillar if I do like a tri-pillar kind of construction. So then you always have to look through it from the side. That's not going to work. And why should I? Because if you look at the throne, you kind of want the tower to be around it on both sides. And so the focus should be on just the entire, the ensemble of the structure. And then this was the hardest to make this work with very limited Lego pieces. I really had to scramble and try to seek a few of these slanted pieces and figure out how I could make something that kind of resembles the top of the Tower of Orthanc. At first, I had a cooler version of this, but then I tried to put the glass on top of it, and it just wouldn't fit because the base is still pretty tall. The base is almost a minifigure tall, and I wanted that because if this is going to be put on display, you don't want to kind of look down too much on the scene. This has to be more eye level, so this is probably going to be in a cupboard so that you can, look at the scene from this level. If it's too low, I don't think it works. Plus, it's a huge tower, so a big tower, you need that base. You need to have something solid underneath it just to evoke that idea that this is, part of a much, much bigger structure. I think I could probably even, if I had a bigger IKEA container, this is the biggest one that they sell, then maybe I could have built it up even, I could add to the base rather than to the top. So let me know what you think. I'm pretty content with how it turned out. Hey, Brogan and Akira. Hello, Terrence, Charles, Helen, Fiver, and John Marshall. Did I say Mass today, Sage? No, I said Mass on yesterday's Eve, because I was too sick. So I called up the pastor of the parish, and I said I can do Mass on Saturday evening here, which is Sunday Mass, of course, because that's the church next door. So if anything goes wrong during Mass, I'm close to home. But for this morning, I was scheduled having to go to a parish that is about 20 minutes by car, and the pain just makes it dangerous for me to drive. So they found another priest to cover me for Mass. I said my prayers, though. Alrighty. Hey, Baggings, I should say, new subscriber. Know nothing about Lord of the Rings, even though my name is Baggings. Oh, wow, well, you have some great catching up to do. I'd recommend you start reading The Hobbit, because it's awesome. If you can get your hand on the movies, they're on Netflix here. Oh, you're going to love it. It is absolutely fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff. You'll get hooked for the rest of your life. Wunderschönen guten Abend. Hi, Mike Kuipers. An inconvenient question. I feel drawn to Catholicism, but how the church handled the child abuse scandals makes me very hesitant. Am I bad for thinking that? No. I mean, the way parts of the Catholic Church and some of the priests and bishops have handled this scandal are terrible. And the church, if there is something like the church, is deeply ashamed and humbled. And Pope Francis has uttered that many, many times, how deeply ashamed he is of the pain that the Catholic Church caused, and how much he regrets that there's been so much denial of the problem and cover-ups. But the church is, of course, much, much, much more than what goes wrong, and there are many places where the victims were helped, and where the church made tremendous amends and really, really tried to get as close as possible to the victims and support them. So there's a lot of healing going on, and it is one of the realities of the church. The church is, of course, something that Jesus started. He wanted to build his church. He says so himself to Peter. And at the same time, he was very well aware that his apostles weren't up to the task. Even Peter betrayed him. They were bickering about who was the most important in the kingdom of God. They often didn't understand what he was trying to communicate, and it took sometimes the rest of their lives to really understand it. And a lot of apostles gave their lives for Christ in the end. And I think that type of growth, but also the sinfulness of the church, is something that has been with the church since forever. For me, that's not a reason to despair. It is, first of all, a mirror for myself. I as a priest doesn't make you an automatic good guy who always makes the right choices. I sin too. I hurt people, even though, of course, I try to be good, but you still are very limited sometimes in your own efforts. But at the same time, I know that that God can forgive me. I can forgive other people. I can draw upon God's love, and the fact that I make mistakes and I sin and I hurt other people or I don't do what I'm supposed to do is a constant reminder that I need God, right? So otherwise, I would maybe think that, well, I can do this by myself. I don't need God to be perfect. And now it's much more an attitude. When they asked Pope Francis how he would describe himself, he said something that I think is something that we should all tell ourselves. He said, "I'm a sinner that has been forgiven by God." And he would probably add to it, and who continues to sin and who continues to be forgiven by God. And I think that's kind of the core essence of what it means to be a Catholic. You live by the grace of God's forgiveness and God's help. Thankfully, because otherwise, why have a church? it's a place where you can find God and where He can help you, and at the same time, there will always be the human aspect of it. But it's ultimately up to the choices. It's kind of what you see here in this scene. You've got Gandalf the Grey, you've got Saruman the White. Both of them have similar powers. Both have kind of the same vocation, and that's to protect Middle-earth and its inhabitants. And even though the grace they've been given is the same, Saruman chooses evil, chooses power, does not want to be dependent on others anymore. In fact, doesn't really need, or he looks at the world in a very utilitarian way. That's why in the movies he's depicted as someone who's very much into machines. Everything, even the music, becomes very machine-like. It's because Saruman looks at the world with the question, how can I exploit it? How can I abuse it? How can I use it for my gain? Whereas Gandalf is much more faithful, I think, to his calling and to what he's supposed to do as a wizard, and that is to be close to the people that need his help. He's not going to do it for them. He's going to guide them, and he will only use magic as a last resort. But in the end, Gandalf is always there to serve, and he does that at the expense of his own life, or sometimes with the risk of losing his own life, like when he confronts Saruman and discovers that Saruman actually is a huge danger for the Fellowship and for Middle-earth. So Tolkien in this story, I think, tells us about us, about our world. We are people with great gifts, but also with the gift of free will. And so we can use our talents, our money, our energy, our time for ourselves, and use people to get things, or you can be like Gandalf, and that is to use things and to help people, to love people, instead of the opposite. And so this is a very nice. That's why I wanted to create this scene, because it's a very symbolic scene of the confrontation between good and evil. But good and evil are very much alike. They just depend. The outcome depends on the choices that are made by these two. Saruman could have been a fantastic wizard, maybe even greater than Gandalf, but he messed it up, and now it's up to Gandalf to go and protect. That's kind of in the church as well. You have people that have betrayed God's love and betrayed the mission that was entrusted to them, and then you have others who try to help, who try to save, who try to mend, who try to heal. You'll always have those two realities in the church as well. Righty. Hey Brenda. Hey Captain Carson. And I hope you all are doing very well. I'm going to keep this short, by the way, because, well, I still have pain, so I can't stand for very long. That's also why I built this without streaming, because I figured, I'd rather just chat with you guys for a couple of minutes and then just go to bed. Hello, Movie Mania Nick, and Bartek Biceps from Poland, I presume. So I'm just browsing very quickly through your comments, because I don't have all the time to go into that, but we have plenty of other LEGO sessions in the future. So if I haven't answered your question, just to save it for another day, what I wanted to show you to wrap things up is I'm going to complete this build by topping it off with the IKEA glass. What is it? The glass thing. So for that, I'm just going to take the glass itself, and I hope it all fits. It should be a perfect fit. Down to the millimeters. There's literally no more room here. This touches the glass right now, so it's totally the right size. And as you can tell, the glass just gives it an extra shine in a way. It also, and that's very cool, adds a little bit as a magnification glass. So the entire thing, I need to still clean the glass, as you can tell, but it looks much bigger now that it's inside the glass than when the glass is off. Let me see. The only problem is, yeah, here you see it. Because of the build, it's being pushed forward a little bit. I didn't count on that, so still have to see if I can straighten that, because I'd like to make that. Let's see if I put it like this. Is it being pushed forward by the glass or not? I think a little bit. Yeah, it is. Just a tiny little bit. Yeah, that's what it is. So in that case, I need to make a modification, because I don't like that. I want it to fit perfectly. Fortunately, I do have some space here that I can shorten. So I can take away this protrusion. There you go. And maybe just take, for instance, just this. Yeah, let's do that. Just going to take. I'm not sure if I can remove this. Got to be careful, because the entire thing is a bit fragile. So that's going to be tricky to get this one off. There we go. So what I can do is put this in front of here. I hope that's enough, actually. And just take this, one of these, and the second one of these. You still kind of want to maintain that slightly slanted look to it. Now it's perfectly square, well, almost perfectly square. Let's see what happens now if I put the glass on top of it. No, it's still being pushed forward, but that's probably my fault. What I should do, of course, is put this all the way here as much as possible. Let's see, now it should work. Nope. No, it's still getting pushed a tiny little bit. So here you can see that it's a little bit pushed forward. The solution, of course, would be to move the top of the tower 1 or 2 studs to the center, which is something I think I can do. There, we'll still do a little bit of building today. So a lot of this is trial and error, as you can imagine. Let's see if I can take this off without... It's going to be tricky. There we go. Careful. So what I now need to try is to let this, I need to have something, so ideally the top would be here, which actually is much more logical too for the design of the tower, that it is above the thing. But in order to make that work, let's see, so this rests on this, so that's okay. I want to keep that. So what I need to do is extend this platform. For instance, with, let's see, two options here. I can use this, or I can use this. This is probably a little bit too big, but we can still try. It's a little bit too much like a roof. Kind of destroys the elegancy. So no, I'll just go with this. There we go. And then to give that a bit of structural support, at least kind of simulate the structural support, I'm going to add 2 inverted triangles. So I'm just going to put one here. Yeah. And the other one right there. You see what I've done? Right now it looks much more like something that is part of the structure. Of course I need to kind of fix it a bit more. But this looks more like a throne, like an extension of the throne in a certain way. So I'll just put it as much up there as possible. Then, let me see, it was resting on what? Was it on Aha, okay. So this, maybe I need one of these. Again, this is going to be a bit trial and error in terms of the height. Just going to see, just temporarily push this here just to get an idea. Oh, shoot. Hold on. What if we take this, whoop, careful. No, that's not good. I need a 3x2. The 3x2. Yeah, get one here. So I need one of these. I'm going to put that right there. Oh. It's all very, very fragile. So what just came off? Something flew off. Where did it go? Okay, it's just, oh, it's just a regular one. Okay. There we go. There. Now, let's see if we can put that right here. Okay, this looks kind of ugly here. On this side, I kind of feel that it needs to be maybe, hold on. What if I take this off? There we go. What if we add 2 more slopes here? Like that. Place this back. And this one right there. Not bad. Not bad. It actually looks cool. I like this. It's more massive even. Don't you think? It looks more like a building now. So because it's kind of overhanging, so it evokes a bit of the ceiling. It looks like the throne, and this is now in the center, or much more in the center than it used to be. So probably now, the only thing I hope is that the height is still unchanged compared to the last build, because I can't really add anything else to the overall height. Okay, let's give this a try. Let's put it this way. Flip the glass. Okay, still pushing a little bit against this part. Barely noticeable, but still. So I'm going to move it just a few millimeters in this direction. The thing is, once the glass is on top of it, it won't be able to budge anymore, which is very cool. There you go. That's it. That's it. It's standing free. And I think, wow, that glass really needs to be cleaned, but there you have it. My version of the Tower of Orthanc. And I think it looks really cool. If I can figure out how. I'm just going to add some LED lights in there. So I'd like to have an LED light on the inside of the Palantir, of course, 2 more in the yellow ones, and then maybe also a light underneath the ceiling so that kind of shines down. I think 4 lights would probably go a long way, just enhancing the overall set. But this is, I'm super happy with this compared to how simple the original was. I mean, this was what it was supposed to become. So this, right? Just a reminder. This is what this was the point of departure, which is really not something you put on display. It's much more of a play set, and now it turns into this. Yeah, that's it for today. I'm off to bed, and hopefully tomorrow medication will have done even more work, and I will start to feel better and better. So, thank you so much for stopping by. I will take some time afterwards to read through the comments. So, but thank you so much for posting them, and I'll be back soon. So we'll chat more. Have a wonderful evening and a good start of your new week. Take care and God bless.